listening to Pop Leisure, and I'm your host, Lane Caddy. Pop Leisure gives you the lowdown on local happenings, movies, music, art, and entertainment. Let us know what's happening in your neck of the woods at Pop Leisure Show on Instagram or email popleisureshow@gmail.com. Join us on FM 98.5 The Phoenix, Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 9 p.m. I'm here today chatting with Bob Trate, Director of Audience Development at Oak Center Cinema. Thanks for coming, Bob.
Thanks for having me, Lane.
Oh, it's so good to see you. I'm really excited about all of the summer movies. I love summertime. It's prime time for movies, and you are always scheduling the coolest stuff. We've got some really fun stuff this summer, and especially this new series of Flicks and Feast. Tell me about it.
Well, Flicks and Feast at Oak Center Cinema is a pairing of movie and a dinner. So we're trying to give it that you're going to eat something that goes with the film itself. So it's like in the flavor of the movie. So example, if we showed Mystic Pizza, you would have pizza slices with you. As you would buy your ticket, you get pizza on the way in. We just did it with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And that was a lot of fun, that you got pizza with the kids and you already went in. It was like the perfect pairing. You're like, why am I eating popcorn if I'm watching a movie about four teenagers that love pizza? Right. I should have pizza. So coming up on July 15th, we have partnered Field of Dreams, the classic American, story, with hot dogs and caramel corn. So it was two things that we have here at our menu at Oak Center Cinema, and we thought this is just perfect. You can get your Coke, you can go in, you have your hot dog, and you have your caramel corn.
Oh, so exciting. I love the caramel corn at Oak Center Cinema, too. It is made on premise in their own kettle, and it is mouthwateringly delicious. So that I'm just really excited about this one in particular, and love the theming. This is only you, Bob, could think of that many examples of, this food would go perfectly with this film, because film so well. I'd have a hard time scheduling these, but I hear from you, there's like endless possibilities.
Well, Karen, the little girl, Kevin Costner's daughter in the film, played by Gabby Hoffman, she's eating a hot dog when it all goes down. So like when Frank Whaley, who's the young baseball player, transitions into Burt Lancaster as the old doctor, he's the one that comes and says, hot dog caught in her mouth. So don't choke, but I thought it would be ideal that we would have hot dogs because we are watching baseball being played.
Of course.
And the thing that I was really glad that we were able to do here is that week, as America is celebrating its 250th anniversary in Philadelphia,
yes,
is that we are going to have the Home Run Derby on Monday night at Citizens Bank Park in Philadelphia. Then we will have the All-Star Game. And then we are jumping on the bandwagon and showing this great baseball movie, Field of Dreams, on the following Wednesday. So if you're still don't have enough baseball in you, or you need more baseball, we have this fantastic movie to show you.
It's a great opportunity to bring the family, and at a low cost too. I mean, the ticket includes dinner and a movie. And what is the cost of the ticket?
The ticket itself is $5.
That's amazing. That's the movie ticket?
That's just the movie ticket.
Okay.
So then the ticket prices, we add the hot dog. I believe we are going to have a ticket where you can get 2 hot dogs, because why would you have just one? So
yeah.
And
Absolutely.
then the caramel corn is your French fries, I guess. That's how you would add it to it. Yeah. Which we do have. So if you do want to get French fries, you could still order
You can
French
add
fry.
on to it, but it's one low price, just a few bucks for the dinner and movie experience. It's perfect for families. You get your whole family of 5 out for probably under $60. It's just a great price. So I'm excited about that. Let's play the trailer in case anybody is not really familiar with Field of Dreams. Let's have a little listen to the trailer.
I have just created something totally illogical.
That's what I like about it.
If you build it, he will come. If you build it, he will come.
If you build what, who will come?
You didn't say.
I hate it when that happens.
Me too.
Who's here invoices?
Ray is. I think I know what "if you build it, he will come" means.
Ooh, why do I not think this is such a good thing?
Daddy, there's a man out there on your lawn. Are you a ghost?
What do you think?
You look real to me.
Hi!
You couldn't see it.
This is really interesting.
You believed in the magic. It happened. Isn't that enough?
Annie, it's more than that. I feel it as strongly as I've ever felt anything in my life. There's a reason.
Go the distance.
Did you hear the voice too? Did you hear it?
Go the distance.
Yes.
Our Graham is dead. He died in 1972.
Are you Moonlight Graham?
No one's called me Moonlight Graham in 50 years.
Unbelievable.
It's more than that. It's perfect.
You build a baseball field in the middle of nowhere, and you sit here and you stare at nothing.
This field, this game, it's a part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good.
Hey, is this heaven? No. It's Iowa.
Kevin Costner, Amy Madigan, James Earl Jones, Ray Liotta, Burt Lancaster. Sometimes, when you believe the impossible, the incredible comes true. Field of Dreams.
Okay, so I'm going to be honest with you, Bob. I don't think I've ever seen Field of Dreams.
What?
I was waiting to watch the trailer because my memory sometimes is not great, and I'll have seen a movie and just it was so long ago, I didn't remember the title or something. So I'm watching the trailer with you, going, I've never seen this film, but I'm really excited about these kind of opportunities because my kids, ages 10 and 13, I'd love to take them to a movie that we can enjoy together as a family, and this seems like exactly that. It seems like something that's not like a really little kids movie, but it's kind of fun for the whole family.
There's a certain magic to Field of Dreams that a lot of people I know have embraced, but if you haven't seen it, you can discover it. It's a story about family. It's about fathers and sons. So it's a perfect ideal baseball movie.
Yes.
Which is great because that's usually the first thing a father and a son exchange is that love of the game.
Aww.
So here in this movie, you have Kevin Costner, he talks about his father and he's estranged from his father, and he and his father had never resolved their differences before his father passed away.
Oh.
So that's what the movie is about. He believes that if he builds this baseball field in the middle of his cornfield, that he can bring back the ghost of his father's favorite player, Shoeless Joe Jackson, played by the late, great Ray Liotta. And then it's kind of like bringing his father back. And Ray Liotta's character, Shoeless Joe Jackson, was a disgraced baseball player because he was blacklisted from playing the game because it was alleged that he bet on the World Series that he was playing in.
Oh, and that's quite illegal.
Right.
Yes.
So there's a whole nother movie, if you want to watch that, called 8 Men Out, which is all about baseball players. I believe D.B. Sweeney and John Cusack are in that, and they play the disgraced 8 baseball players who bet on the World Series. So there's a whole kind of gray area. Did Shoeless Joe bet on himself? Did he not? Did he just take their money and just play because his stats are unbelievable for the World Series? So that's part of it. James Earl Jones is utterly fantastic in this movie. He gives a speech that I've seen on T-shirts, I've seen at multiple baseball parks about the love of the game and everything.
Wonderful.
So James Earl Jones has an Academy Award for like lifetime achievement. Kevin Costner has an Academy Award for directing. Amy Madigan just won one for Weapons. So I mean, there's your 3 main leads, and then you have Burt Lancaster in here, a classic Hollywood actor, who has an Academy Award for acting as well. So I mean, the whole movie is stacked. You have James Horner, who did the score, who won the Academy Award for, I believe, Braveheart and Titanic.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
so this is, I think, it's like I believe it's 1989. It's 1989 when it came out.
Okay.
So a fantastic summer of movies.
Yeah.
When this movie came out, because you're looking at the summer of Batman. There was a Lethal Weapon. You had Ghostbusters. I mean, there was just so much in that summer of '89, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, that this movie snuck in there and yet still crossed over. It still became a part of our mythos because of the message of the film.
Right, it has real staying power.
It does.
It really lasts through
it
generations.
Does. And James Earl Jones' speech is probably really what sums it up. Like you can go on Costner's journey, but James Earl Jones' speech and where his character starts and then ends up in the movie is so good. And it's amazing when you look at James Earl Jones, and he's done some baseball movies. You wouldn't think of him as an actor who had been in baseball movies, but I think this is his third baseball movie. So it's fantastic. And he's always been one of my favorite actors. And I've actually seen him speak in public when I was in college, and he just said, "Good evening," and it was like a wave of silence from all the way. He just said, "Good evening." He was there to talk
kind
about
of voice that stops a room.
He was there to talk about stuttering.
Really?
Yeah, he's a stutterer, and most people don't know that.
I would have never known.
So it was at Penn State, and you could feel the wave of people, and they just grew quiet. It was amazing, and he was such a fantastic presence. Of somebody. So yeah, it was a pleasure to see him.
Wow, I'm really looking forward to this.
Yes,
I'm gonna cart out my kids to see this one,
and this is
have
a
some hot
one-nighter.
dogs and caramel cornmeal. It's a one-nighter.
This is a one-nighter.
What's the date of that?
It's July 15th.
July
It's the
15th.
day after the All-Star game.
Okay.
Which is also in Philly. So it's one day later, but it's a 7:00 show, and it's a one-night only event. So you can't say, "Oh, I'll catch it," on Thursday or Friday. It's your one chance to come and see this amazing film.
Right.
You're really going to enjoy it. And in the trailer, in that baseball scene, you see them at Fenway, which is the Red Sox ballpark. It's not an urban legend anymore because Ben Affleck and Matt Damon have said they are in that scene. They were just actors as extras, but they're actually in that scene when they're sitting there.
Oh, that's so
I've never
crazy.
been able to find them, but they're definitely in the backdrop of James Earl Jones and Kevin Costner watching a game at Fenway.
Wow.
So, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna put it on the calendar. We're going.
You got to see it.
Yeah. That's gonna be a lot of fun. And I really love the hot dog and caramel corn that comes with it. That's so cute. What a great plan. Well, July is stacked. There's a lot of great stuff to see in July. I know the Minions and Monsters movie came out, and we just love a good summertime fun kids movie. And not till the very end of the month, we're looking forward to Spider-Man as well. Spider-Man, I saw one. Was it last summer that there was a Spider-Man that came out that we just enjoyed so much? I'm trying to remember what the latest one was.
It's been a while because we had an animated Spider-Man not too long ago, but we're
Okay.
kind of in between live-action Spider-Mans right now.
Okay.
As the Marvel Universe is kind of resetting itself, and what happens next. So, we will have Avengers Doomsday come December. But yeah, it's kind of been a little bit on the light side.
What are we expecting from this one? Where did we leave off? I don't really, it's like I said, I have a terrible memory for these. I know I've seen the most recent Spider-Man, and I remember a lot of action in the air at the end. There was flying things and this wild, really intense scene.
The last time we saw Tom Holland's Spider-Man, his identity had been revealed to the world. And he basically asked Doctor Strange to make the world forget that Peter Parker was Spider-Man. But with that came the caveat that Doctor Strange couldn't be selective as to who could remember him and who could not.
So everybody has to forget.
Mary Jane, his girlfriend, played by Zendaya, his real life fiance.
Is it real?
Yeah. His real life fiance. Tom Holland's
that.
real life fiance, and his best friend. Oh man, forgive me. It's always I cannot remember his best friend. Ned, played by Jacob Batalon. They both have also forgotten that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So they've also forgotten Peter Parker. So the world does not remember anything that Peter Parker has done. His aunt passed away. And he is now, it's so many years later where he is Spider-Man, and it's pretty much all he's done. And he's starting to feel the toll of, there's really no backup. There's no Avengers. It seems like we're going to get a more street level Spider-Man. Not so much the Spider-Man who battled Thanos and fought with the Avengers and all that other, and Iron Man was his it was his tutor, was telling him how to be a hero.
Right.
We're kind of going to get Spider-Man now years into it, which we never really have gotten outside of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, where we got about maybe 10 years of him being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Where this one is going to be interesting, and it's based on an actual comic book. Called Spider-Man Brand New Day that Marvel published years ago, back in 2008, where they did the same premise, that Spider-Man actually cut a deal with the devil
Oh my.
to erase his identity from the world.
Wow. Well,
Because
and let me ask, what's the goal there? Is that so that he can keep doing his work without his identity being kind of his cover being blown?
It was to protect his loved ones. So what they did was in the movie, they just said, the world knew who he was, and there was no way he could keep Mary Jane safe.
Okay.
So in the same premise with the comic book, his identity had come out due to events, and then he basically had everything wiped away.
And that was in the last film?
That was in the last film, and then it was also in the same premise of the comic book that they had done. So it's just an interesting way, because in all of comic books and comic book movies, they always seem to have some sort of magical reset. What is it like when the world knows your secret identity, and what is it like? Oh wait, we got to go back to that, because this is we're going to put characters in jeopardy, and people are going to die left and right.
Right.
So it's always interesting too in some comic books where the villain does know the hero's identity, but yet never really exploits it for some particular reason. Like it's like the last, ace in their hand that they can throw. Or it's like, no, you saved my life once, so I'm going to give you that.
Right.
But you know that I know.
Right. And we all know we know,
We
but
know.
nobody else knows.
So that was Daredevil Brand New Day, which was on Disney Plus recently. The bad guy, the Kingpin, knew who Daredevil was. And to get to the point where Daredevil just exposed himself and said, I was there because I am Daredevil, and then prove it in a court of law of all things.
Oh my goodness.
Where does that leave our characters for season 3, which is how the show ended? So sorry about the spoilers, but it's an amazing journey that you're going to get there, and how will the villain pull this off? It's amazing.
And Spider-Man has had an amazing journey. In particular, you mentioned the Avengers, and I don't know the details, but I know you will. He seemed like he was late to the party. There was a weird thing about the rights with Spider-Man and which party he ended up in, and tell me about that.
Decades ago, it seems like now, Marvel basically was on the hinge of collapsing, the publishing company, the comic book company. And they started selling off the rights to their characters left and right to different studios, because it's like, oh, here, you can have the rights to the Incredible Hulk. We need $3 million. Great, $3 million. You have so much time in that contract to make an Incredible Hulk movie. Ha, ha, ha. Good luck. But we don't care. We got $3 million into our bank account now, and then we can keep our publishing and everything.
So they were struggling
They
so
were
badly that they had
really
to
struggling.
not give away, but they had to sell off
They had
rights
to sell
keep
characters.
their doors open.
So whatever happened in the process of Sony buying Spider-Man, they went and made the 3 Sam Raimi Spider-Mans.
Okay.
And then they made the 2 with Andrew Garfield. The 3 Tobey Maguires, then they made the 2 Andrew Garfields. But in that process, when they started making the Andrew Garfield movies, 2007, I believe, was the last Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire.
Okay.
2008, Tony Stark landed with Robert Downey Jr. in Iron Man.
Yes.
And that was released by Paramount.
Interesting.
But it was still kind of billed as an independent film. Paramount was just the distributor. So then Disney buys Marvel, and they're able to grab everybody back. And then lawyers get into it, and you start figuring it out. Oh, wait a minute. We just can't have an Incredible Hulk movie released by Disney, but we can put the Incredible Hulk in an Avengers movie.
Interesting.
So that's how how they started getting around. So to this day, ever since the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk movie,
I remember
which was the second Incredible Hulk movie, because the first one was with Eric Bana and directed by Ang Lee, that they were able to say, okay, well, we can use that character and that journey and then put him in an Avengers movie. And then they recast him because they really, really wanted Mark Ruffalo, but they needed the name power of getting Edward Norton out there. So it's one of those things where eventually Disney has reacquired everyone except Spider-Man.
No, really?
So Spider-Man is the one that's kind of like Sony and Disney were able to come to an agreement where the Spider-Man movies are now on Disney Plus, and they're getting that feedback, and then they're able to say, okay, you can't do this, you can't do that, but Tom Holland Spider-Man can be in your movie. So that's why you're not going to see a crossover so far anyway of Venom, which is a Spider-Man character. He's a Sony Madam Web, where we had a whole bunch of female Spider-Man characters that were all in their one movie. Dakota Fanning was the lead. So you're not going to see those characters in a Marvel movie. Yeah, it's kind of like adjacent, like it's there.
Okay.
But it's not
It's
really,
like it's a strange relationship.
Yeah.
So this movie that's coming out July 31st.
is a sanctioned like Disney co-op kind of thing.
But who made it?
Sony.
Sony made it.
But Marvel still has a little bit of say. I mean, it is.
They just started. They got together
Yeah.
and said, let's be friends about this.
Let's work out like something that's more mutually beneficial, because even Sony knows that they need that power of all those other characters. And hey, our one guy is in this movie,
right?
That's breaking records,
Yeah.
And he just shows up in a Captain America movie, and then he's in 2 Avengers movies, the 2 biggest Avengers movies, and every's okay. We're fine with this.
So
We're
rising
happy.
tides raise all ships. Like it's good for
Exactly.
everybody to maintain it, but to work in a collaborative way about this.
Right.
So, but this is a Sony movie, and who's playing Spider-Man now?
It's Tom Holland. This is his 4th appearance as Spider-Man, which
He's
is
done
nice.
well at this.
Which is nice.
I like him for
And
Spider-Man.
He's very athletic. Like it's great to see him in interviews, and he comes in and does like a backflip or something like that, or a
he's very
forward
spry.
flip.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. And
he's got a young look, and Spider-Man is meant to be young. I know time passes and people age, but Spider-Man doesn't, right? Where it
well, yeah, it's funny because I've read Spider-Man since I was 12 years old, and at one point you have to realize you're like, I am the same age as Spider-Man, and that's usually somewhere around 30. And then all of a sudden you're like, I'm older than Spider-Man now.
That's
and technically
disappointing.
the character is like 65, and you're just like, but he starts off as like maybe 15 or 16 when his first
right in
first
my
story.
mind, he's always
Yeah.
kind of like a late teen.
Yeah.
Right. He's like barely ever passes the age of 20.
What I've always liked about what Spider-Man has gotten, most of the movies have gotten right, is that it sucks to be Spider-Man. That everybody may
it's
want to be
true.
Spider-Man, but he lives a really hard life.
Yeah.
And every time like Marvel in the comic tries to like boost him up or give him, something that makes his life a little bit easier, it's always just a reset. There's always going to be something that's going to take everything. At one point, he was the CEO of his own company.
Oh, wow.
Like he was a total Tony Stark. And I'm reading these books and I'm like, it's too easy. This is not what it means to be Spider-Man. Like it's
Right, like you
supposed
didn't
to
love
be
it then.
tough.
He's struggling with life. Life is hard.
It's like, how does he do his laundry? How does he sew up his costume? How does he buy more web fluid? It's all of those things. And it's I don't know, it's the reality of the book that when you look back at it, you're like, I don't understand how this is real life. They always say, Marvel has always said that their Marvel comic universe is the real world. And their characters exist in the real world.
Oh, that's the official standing on
it. Yeah, people that you
know
could be these characters.
Oh, okay.
And that's interesting because you're like, all right, well, how many millionaires do you know? In Batman, how many millionaires do you know? How many newspaper reporters do you know?
Yeah.
But how many high school seniors do you know? As in,
Plenty.
There's that. I mean, even Captain America's real job was a comic book cartoonist. That was Steve Rogers' real job. He was a cartoon. Yeah. So there's all those kind of characters that you're like, yeah, this guy, this is his real life. He goes to school, he has a job, and, on his way home, he hears the cry for help.
Right.
So, but then, he upsets his girlfriend because he didn't make it home in time because he was trying to save somebody out of a burning building. So, as much as I'm the hero, at the end of the day, I can't tell her that I'm a Spider-Man and I saved 3 people. I'm just late.
I just have to apologize for being late.
I'm late for my date. So
yeah.
there's that whole with great
and
power.
that's the relatable part, right? Everybody has to apologize when they were
and that's
late
why
for their date.
That character has endured.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. That one's going to be so much fun. What else do we have to look forward to this July for movies at Oak Center Cinema? There's a lot.
It's funny because I think there's one director, and if anybody has the clout of Spielberg now, I don't think Spielberg has the clout that he had, but Disclosure Day has done very well.
Absolutely.
At Oaks, and I was so happy for it to see that it do well. But I think if there's one director now, I think it's Christopher Nolan.
Oh.
And Christopher Nolan, when he makes a movie, people do turn their heads.
And which ones are he famous for?
So there's Inception.
Oh,
there's
that was a good one.
Interstellar.
Yes.
There's Memento.
Oh, good ones.
Yeah.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Now I'm
So,
on board.
And of course, he did the Christian Bale Batmans. He did those,
Okay.
which I think there's one thing you can say, it's a Batman movie. But I think with Nolan's Batman movies, I think they're just good stories. And we really do get, I mean, they're all over 2 hours, his Batman movies.
Wow.
And you really get a good sense of the world, the characters, and everything that's at stake for everybody, not just the heroes, but also for the villains.
Yeah.
And if you even call them villains, I mean, you watch the Joker now, played by Heath Ledger, and you're like, I can see his reasoning
Right.
for the chaos, you know.
He does have this strange way of making you feel somewhat compassionate for the villains.
Yeah, and he's asking, that villain is asking questions about how we treat each other, and he's just putting the chaos out there to see if maybe we can shine brighter than what we think we can do. Like, as in, am I a better person? Or am I going to ignore the problem? And that's the whole scene with the boats.
Yeah.
It's not two superheroes battling it on top of a bridge. It's real people deciding, am I going to turn this trigger and blow up this boat and kill everybody so I can be safe? And it's such a great scene.
It is
And
mind-numbingly
it's not
like frustrating situation.
It's not Superman holding up a boat to save 300 people. It's real people faced with a decision.
Right.
And that's why I love Nolan's Batman movies. And I think he really endeared himself to a whole generation of people. So when he says he's going to go off and do the Odyssey, Homer's, Odyssey.
Like the Odyssey. Okay.
And of all things, Tom Holland
Is in it?
Is in it.
I'm learning all kinds of things
fiance,
today. Okay.
Zendaya is, I can never say her name right. Is Zendaya?
Zendaya.
She's in it. But we've also got Robert Pattinson. We've got Anne Hathaway, who was in Interstellar with Christopher Nolan. And then we have Matt Damon as Odysseus.
Oh my goodness, really?
Well,
Matt Damon?
He was
I'm
in Interstellar
now.
too. So I mean, like, he's using
what a star-studded cast.
It's an
This is
insane
beautiful.
cast.
And we're talking about like Homer's The Odyssey. Okay, so you told me The Odyssey is coming out, and I just kind of thought it was going to be a story called The Odyssey that had nothing to do with the classic
No, we're
tale.
talking like classic tale. We're talking monsters. We're talking the Trojan horse.
Oh, I can't wait. What's it rated? Is it going to be?
God.
We don't know yet.
Hold on. It is rated R.
Rated R.
And 2 hours and 52 minutes.
Holy moly.
So
wow. Well, it is a really epic length story.
It is.
Okay.
And as for someone who's worked in the industry as long as I have, as a Christopher Nolan fan, I'm happy for 2 hours, 52 minutes. But as someone who works in a movie theater, I'm like, oh God, 2 hours, 52 minutes.
Right.
Like how
We'll
I mean,
be lucky to squeeze 2 showings a day in at that rate.
Exactly. And is there an intermission? Because everybody's going to ask that question.
There's not an intermission in a movie.
There's got to be an intermission.
No, there's no intermission in a movie.
Have you seen the size of our Cokes? They're enormous.
You're going to have to pee.
And it's one of those things. I will make the argument for the intermission.
Oh, really?
I like the music that a composer has to write in between.
Does the movie release with like an optional intermission?
No, it's always a director's choice.
Oh.
So during COVID, it was Killers of the Flower Moon.
I remember that
by
one.
Martin Scorsese.
Yes.
And there were movie theaters in the country that were inserting a intermission because it was close to 3 hours.
Okay.
And Scorsese's, the studio, I forget who it was, sent letters and saying, if you do this, you run the risk of ever playing one of our movies again because it's not what the director intended.
I understand.
So you can't really just say, hey guys, we're going to have an intermission in the middle of, 2 hours and 12 because it breaks the mood.
That's where I'm thinking because I have a bladder of steel. I can sit and watch the 3 hours because I am captivated, and I feel like intermission would I don't love the idea of it kind of taking me out of my headspace where I have completely departed from reality. I'm 100% bought into this story, and then to like turn on the lights in the middle of it is abrasive for me.
It's finding a place for it. I think that's what I think in some filmmakers, I mean, if it's in their mood, if that's what they want, but you watch something like Dr. Zhivago or Lawrence of Arabia, it's built in there that maybe that is the passage of time. Maybe that's 3 years later or 4 years later
Sure.
or a month later.
I've never been to a film where there was an intermission sort of built in.
Oh, wow. I've been to so many.
Have you?
Oh, my God.
It
I've
feels
been to
like
so
a foreign
many.
idea to me. I've never heard of it.
It always hits me weird when I went and saw 2001 and there was an intermission. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because I've seen this, I've seen it in the theater, no intermission. And then Warner Brothers released it with an intermission for some reason, but nobody really knew where it was. So we were all waiting for it to happen. And basically it happens from, there's a point when they're on the moon, they find the monolith, and then we jump to them on their way to Jupiter to see the next monolith as they're, well, it's really in 2010, but as they're on their way to explore Jupiter, that's the span of time. It's only like 10 minutes.
Sure.
But sometimes you need that little 10-minute recess break. For Lawrence of Arabia and Dr. Zhivago and stuff, there's a great passage of time.
I can see if it was like intentional, written in, then I wouldn't mind it so much.
But just a hard, cold stop is so... I knew theaters that did that with one of the Harry Potters. It might have been 4. That was a little bit longer.
Okay.
And the theater managers that I spoke to said, oh, it's great because we get the concession.
Oh.
So but I'm like, but it's not in the movie. So where do you stop? Like, we stop it at about, about halfway through. And I'm like,
just like flip the lights on.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you do?
That's weird.
I don't know how far, but that was before the internet, before social media, where people could like, I had a, now it was like, for Killers of the Flower Moon, people were texting, or not texting, they were posting on Instagram, thank you for having an intermission.
Oh, interesting.
And then tagging the studio. Oh. And you're like, the studio's
the studio was like, we don't want this.
No, we don't want that.
Wow. Okay, so we don't know until we receive the film whether or not there was an intermission scheduled into it by the director.
Nolan's never had one as far as I can remember.
Okay.
I mean, none of the Batmans
So
have
probably not, but it's an interesting idea, interesting topic.
Yeah.
And as far as the story, I am really excited now that I realize that it's like hearkening back to the...
It's been so long since I've read it. I'm like trying to remember what year in high school I read this.
I know, right?
This story.
Well, my son's been listening to a musical that I wish I had all the information about it, but it's based on the Odyssey. So he has, and it's hours and hours and hours long.
Well, gotta be.
Right, exactly, of music that is based on the Odyssey story. So he's already really interested in this story, and. But I don't know if he's old enough to come to a rated R movie. I feel like I need to screen it once to see if it's all right for him.
And that's always the thing. My dad did that with me for years when I was a kid. He would give me we're going to go see this. That means he had already seen it if it was rated R.
Yeah, well,
so
I mean, yeah.
You kind of have to, because you don't know how impressionable something is going to be.
Right, and there's different reasons, and your family has different sensitivities to different things, so it's like
exactly,
and every kid is different too. Something that would keep one of my kids up all night with nightmares, the other kid would be like, "What? Okay, I guess."
Yeah. My dad did this to me. This was years ago. He told me the whole premise to the movie Blade Runner with Harrison Ford, because I really wanted to see the movie, and I was all of 7 years old.
Oh my goodness, no!
But the poster was everywhere when I went to the summer movie that summer,
cool
because
poster too.
Well, E.T. was out that summer, so we kept going to see E.T. and I kept seeing this movie with Han Solo in the poster.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I want to see this because it had a flying car and it had Harrison Ford on it, and my dad was like, I'm going to go see it.
Okay.
And my dad came back, told me the entire story. And he's like, I can't take you to see it. And I think as I got older and I finally got to see the movie, I think it was because I would have been bored at 7. Oh. And I've seen the movie 100 plus times since then. And, even then as an adult now with children, the oldest is almost about that age. I'm like, no kid's going to get this movie. Like what it represents, what the androids and the AI technology represent to the human cop who's trying to track him. Nobody's going to get that. Like, you're not going to get that. So just telling me the story about Han Solo is running down all these humanoid looking robots was the coolest thing in the world to me.
Oh, that's so sweet. So him telling you the story, it was a better version.
It was a better
for
version
7-year-old you.
Exactly. But I've always has always left a mark on me about like, what can my 6-year-old watch? And what will he cling on to what will give him nightmares, what will open his mind up to a new possibility. It's always a thing with parents that we always look at.
Yeah, this one, I'm definitely going to screen this one first to see, because I really hope that I can take him to it, because he's so invested. And I love that, the classical literature. I mean, like, yes, I'm supporting that for my kiddo.
A movie like this, I'm sure there's going to be the teacher review.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't be surprised if your son's teacher probably didn't say, hey, or send you the email, hey, everybody go see the Odyssey. We're adding it to the reading literature this year. So they have that, back and forth. Here's the movie. This is the thing.
And I'm sure that it's written so that it's very modern language. I remember. I don't know. Well, it has to be, because the language, it was written in Italian.
Okay.
And so it's not Italian.
Right.
And I read the translation when I read it, and it was, wait, is it written in Italian? Am I thinking Dante's Inferno? I'm thinking Dante's Inferno.
It'd be Greek. It'd be Greek.
Yeah, I think
Latin.
you're right. It's definitely was not originally written in English, is my point. So we're reading a translation, but even the translation is it sounds almost Shakespearean because it's an old language, right? And so I'm just relating it back to the Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio, which was one of my favorite films of all time. You're laughing at me, Bob.
I'm not laughing at you, because I always think of the one line that Romeo's cousin says. It's like, what ails you, cuz? Like, he doesn't say cousin, he says cuz. It's the only time that's like really like modern language in that whole movie.
Yes, because they stick to the script.
Oh my God.
Which is an interesting way to handle it,
It
right?
is.
It was because visually it was so modern, and yet they're really sticking to the script. And this, I wonder, what path they'll take to modernize this for us. They might go all modern language, all modern effects, obviously all modern effects.
Well, one thing that I saw in an interview with Nolan was that he said that they're trying not to make it look like any other movie of this type that has ever been done before in Hollywood.
Cool.
So
Okay.
I know that I think there is an Odyssey from like 1948 or something, but how they can make theirs different, more unique. And the one thing that really got me was that the music, who is done by Ludwig Göransson, who has won the Academy Award for Black Panther, and he just won it. I believe he won it for Sinners, for the score for Sinners, I think. If not, he should have. But he was told by Nolan, don't use anything that is like, I really want it to be different. And that's funny, because Nolan usually uses Hans Zimmer as a composer.
Oh.
So he is really breaking from his normal, repertory of things that he does. So I'm also interested, once the movie comes out, like, did he use a different cinematographer? Did he use a different editor? To relate it back to Spielberg, Spielberg has done that when he's really wanted to break from his conventions, or the fact that Spielberg been in business so long, a lot of those people he's worked with aren't here anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
So, his director of photography for Indiana Jones was always the same man.
Right. And then he's got to scout for new talent.
Yeah, he passed away. So they had to make the movie, the fourth Indiana Jones, look like the other three. But it's still different eyes, different everything.
Yeah.
So to see what Nolan's going to do with this, it makes anybody who loves cinema, and those of us that run cinemas, it's just like great, because people are going to talk about it, good or bad.
Yes.
And then people want their own opinions, but they still have to buy that ticket to get that opinion. So that's always the really good part.
That is the good part.
That is the good part. You want them to get their own opinion and come in and see it as big as you can. And then we're going to have it in D-Box too. So that's going to be another option. There's going to be lots of ways to watch this movie, but Oaks can offer you the D-Box.
The motion seating would be so cool, because from what I do remember of this story, a lot of it is on the ocean in a ship. And then there's these fights. And so that motion seating, I think this is going to be something that really integrates well with that, where you feel the action, you feel part of the action so much more with the D-Box motion seating. That's going to be a lot of fun. And also, this one being rated R is probably a good opportunity to test out the Popcorn Playhouse for parents out there that haven't gotten the opportunity yet to check that out. The Popcorn Playhouse is childcare while you watch your movie on Friday and and Saturdays after 4 p.m., there's a space that was designed especially for your kids to have an amazing time. So you check them in. They have a bounce house, unlimited air hockey, cozy couches, and kids content on the screen so that they have their own really fun night out while you're having your fun night out. You can really pay attention to your movie. Don't not worry about them. We have an incredible lady named Nicole who is a certified childcare provider with CPR training and all kinds of. I mean, she's got a list of qualifications a mile long, and she's really great at what she does. And the space is so much fun. So if you haven't seen that yet, you got to check it out. In fact, that's going to be available all Friday and Saturday night shows for no matter what you're seeing, right?
We better find out if there is an intermission because you might be in the popcorn playhouse a little bit longer than you need to be.
That's true. That's true. We set it up so that after like 3 hours, your time is sort of up because you're not supposed to like go out of the facility and do other things for the childcare. But you're right. We might have to extend the length of time for this one in particular.
The special, the Trojan horse ticket or something because your child's going to be in there for quite some time.
Right. Don't worry though. It's a ton of fun. They'll have lots of fun. In fact, we have cozy couches and we'll bring in some of those blankets in case they need to take a little nap if you're out late. It's a long one. But like I said, I think it's going to be something that is really special. Out of the movies I'm seeing this summer, there's a lot of family, a lot of kids movies that are going to be big headlines, big blockbusters. But this is the big one that I really think is going to be a super cool option for date night. I'm stoked.
Yeah, it's right in the middle of the summer too. I mean, it's right in July, right after the big holiday. What else is there to do?
Right,
you know
and it's super hot out, so I want to go inside and watch
and
a movie.
it's interesting how July has become like more now the big movie than it used to be. It always used to be May.
Oh,
and the Avengers really set May back to where it used to be. All the different Avenger films that would come out, the different standalones, and then it's nice to kind of see like Hollywood has reestablished a month as in like primetime summer, and that's July. We got Spider-Man, we've got Minions, we've got The Odyssey. Yeah. We've also have Evil Dead Burn. We have Moana.
In real, live action Moana.
So you could literally go to the movies every week, see something amazing.
Really amazing.
I mean, it could define this summer. This July alone could define this summer.
Absolutely.
Which is really cool. Spider-Man and The Odyssey alone could define the summer, but Minions is, I mean, it's always funny.
It's always funny. I hope it's good. I hope it's good.
I think it's always good for the kids. And those first time I saw those creatures in Despicable Me, I was like, well, it was okay. And my buddy turns to me, who's a film critic, and he goes, the kids are going to go nuts over those things. And he's right. And here we are like 12, 13 years later, and there's still Minions everywhere.
They are. I got to tell you, maybe I'm just a big kid, but I sort of go nuts for them too. Like I am rolling on the floor laughing when they go on about bananas. Like I just, I am just delighted.
Every time there's a Minion Happy Meal, I go and get one, and then I leave it somewhere in my mother's house. Not the meal itself, but the actual Minion toy.
You meant the meal? That would be mean.
No, the Minion toy. I've done this so many times, and she's always like, oh, and she jumps because there's one in her medicine cabinet, or
that's so cute.
There's one in her linen or something like that. It's my little way of having fun with her and torturing her.
That's so cute. I think we have them at Oak Center. You don't have to go get a Happy Meal. We've got a whole closet full of those.
Well, yeah, we had a Minions movie like 2 years ago or something like that.
Right. Yeah.
Here we are again, another Minions movie.
I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. Well, here's to an excellent July filled with lots of films. I hope that we'll see you all there to enjoy them. Thanks so much, Bob.
Thank you for having me, Lane.
I'll see you again. Take care. You're listening to Pop Leisure, and I'm your host, Lane Caddy. We're back with more about local happenings, movies, music, art, and entertainment. Let us know what's happening in your neck of the woods at Pop Leisure Show on Instagram, or email me, popleisureshow@gmail.com. So coming back today, I want to tell you a little bit about an adventure I was on last week. I was in Las Vegas. That's right, Las Vegas, Nevada. It's a 5-hour plane ride. It was a little longer than I expect. I know it's a big country, but I didn't quite expect it to be that long of a ride. It was very long, and I was there for CinemaCon, which is the movie industry one-stop shop for all the things that a movie theater might need. And we had such a blast there. So the first thing we did, I'm going to tell you the whole story because it was so much fun. The very first thing that we did was not part of CinemaCon. We went to the Sphere. If you have not heard of the Sphere yet, if you've not seen any pictures, you got to YouTube this thing. The Sphere in Las Vegas is an insane building. It's a building that is entirely made of essentially digital billboard panels, but all of them are curved so meticulously that the entire building is a sphere. Like it's just like a big basketball that sits on the planet. And it's so huge that I was standing in front trying to get like a selfie of me in front of the building. And it's just like me in front of one giant digital billboard because you can't even see the top of it. I was standing so close. And from a distance, it's so exciting. Like, on the 24th floor of your hotel, you look out and you just see this giant spherical building that is flashing different images. It's an advertisement. It's a smiley face in the middle of the night. I woke up at one point at 4:00 in the morning because I, of course, was on East Coast time. And I'm looking out there. I actually took a little walk to call my kids before school, and I go out there, and the Sphere was the moon. It was so stinking cute. I laughed out loud out in the hallway of the hotel, like that the Sphere was the moon. Oh my gosh, it was so cool. So I went to the Sphere with my colleagues here at Oak Center Cinema. And we were doing some market research. In some ways, we kind of just wanted to see what was up at the Sphere in Las Vegas. But, really, it is the forefront of movie technology in a lot of ways. It's like the future of what's happening. So they didn't have any live shows. They do both movie and, well, not just any movie. They do a movie. I'll tell you more about it. But they also do live music performances on stage there. So I think the first band that ever played there was U2, and Fish was coming to town actually like the day that we were leaving, but we couldn't make it to the Fish concert. So our options were to go and see The Wizard of Oz or The Wizard of Oz. That's all. That's all you could see at the Sphere the week that we were there for CinemaCon. So we definitely were like, well, no matter what's playing. I mean, I'm down for The Wizard of Oz. It doesn't sound like the most exciting thing to go see because I've seen it. I know the story. I've read the book. But sure, I'm open to new experiences. So we signed up to go to the Sphere, and I didn't have really high hopes for, how thrilled I was going to be. But, I was up for the entertainment and just open to anything. So we go and you get your tickets, you go, it's like a football stadium because you have to go up so many escalators, and the vibe in the lobby area is kind of like dark and cool and like a little misty, and there's merch everywhere for the show for The Wizard of Oz, and just different like poppies and apples and things related to Wizard of Oz, and the merch tables, and of course there's food and beverage. You can get all these things, so it feels a lot like you're on your way to your seats at a big football stadium. And then you actually get into the little hallway where you're going to your seats, and you come out and you're faced with an extremely steep set of steps to get to your chairs. And honestly, we didn't know whether you wanted to sit like up closer or back further. Like in an unusual setting like that, it's like, well, what are the best tickets? We don't even know. We managed to get some that were pretty much in the middle of the room, which was great. I was like, who bought these? These are, way to go, guys. These are fantastic. So we got a really nice spot. But as I'm looking around, there isn't really a bad seat in the house and that's part of why I mentioned the extremely steep stairs. You do feel like if you fall on these stairs that you're going to absolutely die because they're just so steep. But what it's creating is when you sit down in your seat, the people in the row in front of you, their heads are like at your knee level. And so you're never, ever kind of fighting to see past somebody's head, which is a great joy. I mean, everybody's been in that, no matter how tall you are. Well, maybe some of you don't have the experience, but I'm a fairly tall lady. And even for me, I occasionally am kind of, having to like really crane my neck around the back of somebody's head just because of the way a building is set up. So this is very, very friendly for that. The seats were small-ish, but they were comfortable. They were like reasonably comfortable, but they were certainly pretty tight because they're obviously trying to maximize seating. So again, think football stadium with like a little cushion, just a little cushion on that seat. So, at first I'm kind of taking it all in. And when I'm sitting, I'm looking at a stage that feels very, Art Deco. It feels very 1920s Art Deco flavor with like some ochre, yellow, gold. And the curtain for the stage is like a heavy green, like a jade sage green velvet. And it looks like it weighs just like 100 pounds, this velvet. And so I'm kind of taking it all in. And I don't want to ruin this for anybody. So, like, maybe this is a spoiler alert, maybe not. Our technical director, Seth, is sitting next to me, and he leans over and he says, "Everything that you see is a projection." And guys, I literally looked at him and said, "Oh, nothing is real." It was so mind-blowing. And you know what? It isn't technically a projection. He dialed that back. The screen on the inside of the sphere is a direct view screen. So it's basically just a giant spherical shaped television. So you're looking at a screen that's direct view. It's not projected from a projector behind you. But his point was that this is entirely a generated image. And he was right. And I said, no, certainly not the speakers that are hanging over there or the exit sign or the TV. He was like, no, everything that you're looking at is an image. And I was completely mind blown because it was so well done, so real that you felt like you could just go walk into this scene. And he was right, of course. So we're sitting there, we're waiting for it to start. The curtain comes up. And it's the MGM lion, the old-fashioned little where the roar at the beginning of the movie, an MGM. And instead of the regular, typical MGM lion, it was the lion, the Wizard of Oz lion. And he's so cute looking with his little like makeup whiskers. And so he does his little roar. And as soon as he's done roaring, the entire screen goes to clouds. And you can hear throughout the audience, everyone gasps. Because, now Seth had told me that the screen was all an image, but I said to him, if I had not known, I would have sat here not knowing until that moment, and I would have been absolutely bowled over. So you can hear the shock just ripple through the audience. We were so shocked. And the show was like nothing that you could ever hope to see anywhere else. The level of remastery that's gone into the film is spectacular. You could see, Dorothy at times when she's like sobbing about some, terrible thing that's happening. She's like 50 feet tall, and you can just see every single one of her eyelashes. You could practically count them. And it was spectacular. And all of the backgrounds, because if you think, this thing was made to go on a flat movie screen, right, in a rectangle shape. And so they basically had to take all of the actors out of the screen and superimpose them on top of a more vivid and interesting background. Now, they had to be kind of true to the movie and keep it, in keeping with what you'd expect to see. And yet it had to also be extremely vivid and just mind-bogglingly realistic. And it also had to wrap the whole way around you, because you look over your shoulder to the left and to the right and up, and you're still seeing screen. So they can't cut the background. It has to, the sky, the clouds above you have to all be there the whole time. And on the left and the right, you feel like you're sitting in Dorothy's room with her, because it wraps around you in this way it's very immersive. Totally spectacular. The seats themselves actually had like rumblers in them, so there was no movement like of the whole chair back and forth. But there is like just like in gaming controllers, how there's like a rumbler that shakes your hands when you are doing something aggressive. In the same way, the seats had those kind of rumbler motors. So when the tornado picks up, you get this like rumbling in your seat. You're like, and then there's fans that start blowing like crazy, and they have these little tissue paper leaves that fly through the audience. And with that, in combination of the imagery of the tornado it's on not quite 360 degrees around you because you have the other people that are sitting with you seeing it, but it goes most of the, let's say it's like 270 degrees around you. You feel like, oh my goodness, we're in the tornado. We're all in the tornado. We're going to be lifted up into the air. Like it's actually scary enough that I would say that children under the age of 10 would be terrified, like absolutely outright terrified, because it's such an overwhelming experience. That was, I think, the peak of it. But they continually throughout this show, there were really striking imagery, and in addition to that, special effects that blow the mind. At some point, there are giant, beautiful, I want to call them robotic butterflies. I don't know quite how to describe this, but you're seeing butterflies that are between you and the screen that are fluttering, and it's completely bananas because I couldn't figure this one out. Everything, I kind of understood how it was done. The little tissue paper leaves and the tornado winds, so they just like fly through the air. Like that makes sense in like the world of physics, right? But they had these butterflies. I can't tell you how large they were if you were holding them in your hand, because they were so far away, and they seemed to be like they might be 18 inches across wingspan, right? And they're brightly colored polka dotted butterflies, and they're flapping their wings very gently as butterflies do, and they're just hovering in the air, and it's like physically not really possible, for them to be doing this. So I don't know if they were like little drones. If anybody knows how these butterflies work, you got to tell me, because I am completely mystified and just absolutely in adoration. I loved it. I don't want to tell you every single effect that happens because you got to go and see it for yourself. But, I was surprised. I thought, okay, we'll go and see this really cool thing. I did not expect to come home daydreaming about how we could, in small ways, bring some of that magic and wonder to Oak Center Cinema so that we could provide a show that feels so multisensory and immersive here in the greater Philadelphia area. That was the thing that I couldn't stop like chewing over in my mind was, okay, so no, we're not going to build a sphere, right? But we do have an incredible theater with a ton of seating that we could really customize a certain experience. What's interesting about this was that they had so mastered and so manipulated this particular film that the Wizard of Oz seems to be like the show that shows when nothing else is showing at the Sphere, which is great. I mean, you need to have kind of this fallback, this like thing that you can sell daily to support. Oh my gosh, I think this thing costs like $2 billion. That's what I heard anyway. So yeah, they've got to be making some kind of revenue on a regular basis. I mean, even through the week, like Tuesday night, they've got to be having something going on there. So this is kind of that filler show. And I wonder if it would be worth it to try to generate a standby show that has a lot of extra immersive multisensory experiences here in our own theater. And, I don't know if it'll happen. Sometimes I'm just brainstorming, spitballing, and we don't know where it'll go. But, as we renovate and develop the theater, it's really wonderful to see the new technologies. Right now we have 2 theaters that have D-Box immersive motion seating, which does bring that extra element. In fact, these D-Box chairs, even more so than the ones at the Sphere, are actually kind of dancing and moving in correlation with the action on film. So we're part of the way there. I thought, if we had a whole theater of D-Box seats and had some, those industrial fans and, threw out little tissue paper leaves when there was a storm, and we, had like, the foam parties that they have at nightclubs. If you get like the foamers and like let it snow on people and like fun things like that. Like I wonder if we could support that. I don't know. Like that would be so much fun. So here I am daydreaming, just thinking about things. But that was step 1. So much fun in Nevada, Las Vegas. If you're headed out that direction, highly, highly recommend tickets to The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. It is just a movie. Just a movie. It's not just a movie. However, going into it, I thought that it was going to be a live theatrical performance, and I was not expecting it to be a film. But it's, there's really something to be said for it. It was pretty spectacular. So definitely recommend. And again, I would say you want to be ages 10 and up for this, because there are some scenes that are pretty intense. And I don't know if they have it rated for that. Like if they mention it, I'm on their website here, and I don't think that they're really mentioning it in particular, like what age group you should be for it. But if I was judging, I would say 10 and up. And if you're kind of a little bit jumpy at 10, then maybe 13. And looking at the schedule coming up, they do have some Fish. They have No Doubt is playing there. Let's see what else we have. Yeah, No Doubt, May 24th. No Doubt is a bunch. The Wizard of Oz, on and on and on. So, and No Doubt actually goes on through June. Then Kenny Chesney. There's Kenny Chesney's on and off there for a while. Yeah, you guys have fun if you make it out there. But if not, check out D-Box Immersive Motion Seating at Oak Center Cinema. That's something that you can check out this very weekend. And it's just a really great way to level up that immersive nature of the movie. Really feel like you get to escape your life, escape your thoughts, escape your issues, and just go be in a story and let the story really like wrap the whole way around your brain. And I find that very helpful, just psychologically, to just kind of walk away from all those other things in the world and go see a really great movie. All right, guys. Well, this is Lane. It's always a blast. I am going to come back with lots more about CinemaCon next time that we talk. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.